Have you ever left a conversation with a friend feeling heavier than when you started, like your energy was siphoned away, leaving you questioning your own worth? If you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, you know time is too precious for relationships that drain your soul. Toxic friendships aren't just annoyances, they're thieves of your peace, especially when life's already throwing curveballs like illness, loss, or career setbacks. As someone who's leaned on Stoicism to navigate these storms, I'm here to share a practical, battle-tested compass to reclaim your energy and live with clarity. In this video, we'll uncover what makes a friendship toxic, why letting go is sometimes the bravest choice, and how to find emotional freedom using Stoic wisdom. Stick with me, you'll walk away with simple, actionable steps to protect your spark and build stronger connections. Hit that subscribe button, join this journey, and let's take back your peace together. Section 1. What makes a friendship toxic? The battlefield of life doesn't always look like war. It can be a coffee shop, a phone call, or a friend's living room where you're left drained, questioning your worth. A toxic friendship isn't just a rough patch, it's a slow bleed on your soul. As someone who's walked through fire and come out stronger, I lean on Stoicism to navigate these storms, and it's a compass worth sharing, especially for those of us in our 40s, 50s, or 60s, when time feels too precious to waste. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." A toxic friend might stir chaos, but they don't control your response. Maybe it's the colleague who subtly undermines your work, leaving you second-guessing your career at 50. Or the old buddy who leans on you for endless support but vanishes when you're grieving a parent. These aren't just annoyances, they're thieves of your peace. Stoicism asks, what's in your control? Your boundaries, your reactions, your choice to stay or walk away. Epictetus nailed it. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. If a friend's negativity feels like a windstorm tearing at your calm, you can't change their gale, but you can build a shelter. I think of a client I once had, a 55-year-old veteran who lost his wife to cancer. His drinking buddy kept dragging him into bars, mocking his sobriety. He told me, "I felt like I was betraying him by saying no." But betrayal? That's when you abandon yourself. He chose sobriety, set a hard boundary, and walked away. Today he mentors younger vets, a living testament to courage. What's pulling you from your own path to peace? Stoicism isn't about cutting people off coldly, it's about clarity. Seneca said, "We must give as we would receive, cheerfully, quickly, and without hesitation." If the friendship is a one-way street, you're not obligated to keep pouring into a dry well. Take a CEO like Satya Nadella, who talks about empathy as a leadership cornerstone. He'd argue a good relationship lifts both sides. If you're always the giver, ask, is this friendship making me better or just heavier? Here's a practical move, the 3-step Stoic check. First, observe. Write down how this friend makes you feel over a week. Drained? Small? Second, reflect. What's in your control? You can't fix their drama, but you can limit calls or say, "I need space." Third, act. Set a boundary or if needed, let go. I knew a nurse in her 60s who did this with a friend who gossiped about her divorce. She said, "I'm not discussing this anymore." The friend backed off. Simple, not easy, but freeing. Life's like a fire, you can't control the flames, but you can choose how close you stand. Letting go of a toxic friend isn't weakness, it's choosing to protect your spark. What boundary will you set today to guard your peace? Section 2. The Stoic case for letting go. Life at 40, 50, or 60 is a crucible. Every choice feels heavier, every moment more fleeting. When a friendship turns toxic, it's like carrying a rusted anchor through a storm. Stoicism doesn't just offer a way to drop that weight, it gives you a map to sail toward calmer waters. For those of us who've faced life's harder edges, layoffs, illness, or the ache of loss, knowing when to let go isn't just philosophy, it's survival. Epictetus said, "Some things are in our control and others not." Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Picture a friend who's been part of your life for decades, but now their bitterness is a fog that clouds your clarity. Maybe it's the neighbor who vents endlessly about their divorce, pulling you into their spiral while you're battling your own health scare. A prostate cancer scare at 62, say. You can't control their resentment, but you can control how much of your energy you give. I knew a retired Marine 58 who faced this. His old squadmate's constant cynicism was like a grenade to his hard-won sobriety. He told me, I had to choose, my peace or his chaos. He stopped answering the calls. Not out of anger but clarity. What's in your control when a friend's darkness threatens your light? Then there's virtue, the Stoic North Star. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." A toxic friendship can erode your virtues like rust on steel. Maybe it's the colleague who goads you into office gossip, tempting you to betray your sense of justice while you're clawing back from a failed business at 45. Or the childhood friend who dismisses your grief after losing your sister, leaving you to question your own strength. These relationships don't just drain you, they pull you from your path. I think of Brené Brown, who talks about vulnerability as courage. She'd say a true friend meets you in that space, not exploits it. If a friendship tempts you to be less kind, less honest, less you, ask, is this relationship worth my integrity? Letting go doesn't mean a dramatic showdown. Stoicism is about precision, not impulsiveness. Seneca advised, retire into yourself as much as you can. Take a 48-year-old teacher I met, reeling from a heart attack. Her book club friend kept pushing her to just get over it, ignoring her need to heal. She didn't ghost her, she said, "I need time to focus on my health." Clear, kind, firm. The friendship faded naturally. Here's a Stoic tool, the pause and pivot. Pause, step back for a week, limit contact and notice how you feel. Pivot, set a boundary or reduce time spent. Try texting instead of calls or meeting less often. If the relief is palpable, that's your signal. What small step could you take to test the weight of this friendship? Life's a forge and toxic ties are dead wood that smothers your flame. Letting go is like pruning a tree, not to kill it but to let it thrive. Jocko Willink, the Navy SEAL turned leadership guru, talks about detaching to lead. Sometimes, detaching from a friend is how you lead yourself. It's not about cutting them out of spite, it's about choosing your own growth. What's one relationship you're holding on to that's dimming your fire? Start small. A conversation, a boundary, a single step toward freedom. Your peace is worth it. Section 3. The Stoic Art of Detachment. At 40, 50, or 60, life feels like a river, sometimes calm, sometimes raging, but always moving. A toxic friendship is like a snag in that current, pulling you under when you're already fighting to stay afloat. Stoic detachment isn't about turning cold or building walls. It's about loosening your grip on what's drowning you so you can swim free. For those of us who've stared down life's harder truths, a diagnosis, a career derailment, or the raw grief of losing someone dear, this practice is a lifeline. Seneca wrote, "You must let go of what you would keep. You must surrender what you would hold." That hits hard when you're clinging to a friendship out of loyalty or fear of being alone. Maybe it's the old college buddy who's become a vortex of complaints, sucking the air out of your evenings while you're navigating your kid's addiction at 52. Or the work friend who subtly undermines your confidence as you rebuild after a layoff at 47. Detachment means recognizing you can't save them, or force them to change. It's choosing to save yourself instead. What's one friendship you're holding onto out of habit rather than value? Step 1. Reframe the relationship as a season, not a life sentence. Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it." I met a 61-year-old nurse who'd spent years trying to fix her childhood friend's endless dramas. After her own breast cancer scare, she realized, this friendship wasn't forever, it was a chapter and it was time to turn the page. She didn't cut her friend off, she just stopped being the 24/7 crisis hotline. Reframing freed her to focus on her healing. Try this. Write down one way this friendship served you in the past, then ask, does it still serve me now? Step 2. Turn the lens inward. Toxic friends hook us by stirring emotions, guilt, anger, or the faint hope they'll change. Epictetus taught, it's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them. Instead of fixating on their behavior, ask what this teaches you about yourself. A 55-year-old accountant I know faced this when his golf buddy kept belittling his new side hustle after a corporate downsizing. The jabs stung, but he used them to practice courage, saying, "I'm proud of what I'm building." That shift wasn't about his friend, it was about reclaiming his own worth. Angela Duckworth, the psychologist behind Grit, would call this channeling pain into growth. What strength could this friendship help you forge? Step 3. Visualize release. The Stoics were masters of mental discipline. Picture your toxic friend as a heavy stone in your pack. Each day, imagine setting it down by a quiet lake, watching the ripples fade. Do this for a minute before bed. A 49-year-old teacher I worked with used this after her friend mocked her therapy sessions following her brother's death. She'd visualize handing back the negativity, saying, "This isn't mine to carry." Over weeks, the emotional grip loosened. Try it tonight. What weight could you set down to feel lighter tomorrow? Here's a real-world move, the Stoic boundary script. If a friend's negativity overwhelms you, say, "I value our time, but I need to focus on my own headspace right now." Then act. Skip the next meetup or mute their texts for a week. I saw this work for a 57-year-old veteran who distanced himself from a buddy whose rants triggered his PTSD. He wasn't cruel, he was clear. Jocko Willink, the SEAL-turned author, talks about discipline equals freedom. Detachment is discipline, freeing you to invest in relationships that fuel your fire, not smother it. Life's a forge and every choice shapes who you become. Detachment isn't running from pain, it's stepping into your power. What's one small act of detachment you can take today to protect your peace? Section 4. Emotional freedom through letting go. Life in your 40s, 50s, or 60s is a high-stakes game. Every ounce of energy counts, and a toxic friendship can feel like a leech on your spirit. Letting go isn't just about walking away, it's about breaking the chains that bind you to resentment, guilt, or exhaustion. Stoicism offers a path to emotional freedom, not by dodging pain, but by mastering your mind amidst it. For those of us who've weathered life's storms, chronic illness, a shattered career, or the gut punch of loss, this freedom is a hard-won prize. Seneca said, "There is no enjoying the possession of anything valuable unless one has someone to share it with." But what if that someone drags you into darkness? Emotional freedom means choosing who gets a seat at your table. Imagine a 53-year-old small business owner, reeling from a bankruptcy. Her old friend's constant, "You should have known better," jabs didn't just sting, they buried her in shame. Letting go of that voice wasn't betrayal, it was liberation. She told me, "I felt like I could breathe again." What's one voice in your life dimming your spark? Clarity is the first gift of letting go. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look within. Do not allow the special quality or worth of anything to pass you by." Without a toxic friend's fog, you see what matters, your values, your purpose. A 60-year-old widower I know cut ties with a buddy who mocked his grief therapy after losing his wife. Free from that judgment, he joined a support group and rediscovered his love for painting. The noise cleared and his path lit up. Try this. Write down 3 values that define you, maybe integrity, kindness, growth. Does your toxic friend honor those or obscure them? Energy follows clarity. Toxic ties are like a slow leak in your tank, draining you when you need strength most. Epictetus taught, "You become what you give your attention to." A 46-year-old nurse, battling fibromyalgia, had a friend who dismissed her pain, pushing her to just push through. Letting go freed her to join a yoga class for chronic pain, where she found community and relief. She replaced exhaustion with vitality. Here's a move. List one activity you love but haven't had energy for: gardening, reading, volunteering. What could you reclaim by redirecting your energy? Peace is the deepest reward. Stoicism isn't about escaping life's waves but learning to surf them. A 58-year-old veteran haunted by PTSD had a friend who trivialized his therapy, saying, "Just man up." Walking away wasn't easy, but it brought quiet to his mind. He started a daily gratitude practice, noting small wins, like a morning without panic. Angela Duckworth, the grit expert, would call this building resilience through intentional focus. Try this. Each night, jot down one thing you're grateful for since distancing yourself. Maybe it's a calm coffee alone or a new friend's kindness. What peace could gratitude reveal in your life? Here's a Stoic roadmap to freedom. First, reflect. Journal for 5 minutes about what this friendship taught you, maybe the power of saying no or the value of trust. Second, fill the void. Call a friend who lifts you or spend an hour on a hobby you've neglected. I saw a 49-year-old teacher do this after ditching a friend who gossiped about her divorce. She took up pottery, and her hands found purpose where her heart once ached. Third, anchor in gratitude. Write one sentence daily about what letting go has given you. General Stanley McChrystal, a leader who thrived under pressure, talks about focusing on what you can control to find calm. That's Stoic peace, choosing your focus. Life's a wildfire and toxic friends can fan the flames. Letting go is like clearing the brush, giving you space to grow. Emotional freedom isn't just a feeling, it's a choice to live as your truest self. What's one step you can take today to claim that freedom? Section 5. When letting go feels hard. Letting go of a toxic friend can feel like abandoning a sinking ship you've sailed for years. Guilt, fear, and stubborn hope cling like barnacles. At 40, 50, or 60, when life's battles, illness, job loss, or the ache of losing a loved one, have already tested you, cutting ties isn't just hard, it's a gut-wrenching choice. Stoicism doesn't sugarcoat the struggle, but it hands you a torch to light the way through. For those of us who've walked through fire, these tools are practical, not just philosophical. Guilt is the first hurdle. You might think, I'm bailing when they need me. Epictetus cut through this fog. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Your duty isn't to fix their chaos, it's to live virtuously for yourself and those who truly lift you. I knew a 54-year-old teacher who felt crushed leaving a friend who leaned on her during a messy divorce, especially while she was grieving her father's death. But she realized, her friend's drama wasn't her burden. She set a boundary, I can't talk every day, and redirected her energy to her students. Guilt faded as purpose grew. What duty to yourself are you neglecting by holding on? Fear of loneliness is a heavier chain. A toxic friend, even a draining one, can feel like a tether to connection. Marcus Aurelius urged, consider how quickly all things are dissolved and scattered. Life's too short for half-hearted ties. A 62-year-old retiree I met faced this after prostate surgery. His golf buddy's constant negativity was a storm cloud over his recovery, but cutting him off seemed isolating. He leaned into Stoic memento mori, life's brevity, and joined a local hiking group. One new friend, who shared quiet trails and real talks, outshone years of toxic banter. Quality trumps quantity. Who in your life could you invest in to replace that fear with connection? Then there's hope, the trap of maybe they'll change. Seneca was blunt, cease to hope and you will cease to fear. If you've voiced your needs and the toxicity persists, clinging to hope is like watering a dead plant. A 47-year-old lawyer reeling from a failed startup had a mentor who kept belittling her pivot to consulting. She begged for support, but the put-downs continued. Accepting reality, she stopped seeking his approval and focused on clients who valued her. Clarity replaced wishful thinking. Here's a Stoic test. Ask, have I done all I can to communicate? If yes, let go. If not, try one clear conversation, then decide. What reality are you avoiding by hoping for change? Start small if the leap feels daunting. A Stoic approach is deliberate, not rash. Try the slow fade. Skip one meetup, mute their text for a weekend, or say, I need space to focus on me. A 59-year-old nurse did this with a colleague who gossiped about her health struggles with lupus. She didn't ghost, just scaled back to polite nods at work. Relief followed. General David Petraeus, a master of strategy, talks about choosing your battles. Letting go is a battle you win by prioritizing your peace. Life's a forge, and toxic ties are chains that keep you from the anvil. Letting go, even when it stings, is crafting a stronger you. Brené Brown would call this daring greatly, choosing vulnerability over comfort. What small step could you take today to loosen one chain and move toward growth? Your peace is worth fighting for. Toxic friendships can dim your fire, but Stoicism gives you the tools to reclaim your energy, set boundaries, and choose growth over chaos. Don't let guilt, fear, or false hope anchor you. Take one bold step today to protect your spark. Whether it's a conversation, a boundary, or walking away, you have the power to shape your life. Join us on this journey to live with clarity and courage. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more Stoic wisdom to navigate life's battles. Share your story in the comments. Let's build a community that lifts each other up. Your next step starts now, make it count.